character named the boy. I think this part from Waiting for Godot reflects themes of struggle, frustration, and the absurdity of life.
Mysterious character who the first message from Godot. He say Godot will come tomorrow, but this promise is not fulfilled.
Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast. I'm Michelle and with me are Chelsea and Lucy. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Lucy. Hi, I'm Chelsea.
Today we're diving into the classic play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. So how are you today, guys?
Everything is fine.
Good. How about you, Michelle? I'm fine. I'm fine too, thank you. So before reading the script, what's your expectation?
My expectation for the story, I hope the story is easy to understand like many other script and many other plays. And I hope I know what's exactly the story you want to tell us about that are related to our daily lives. For me, I think my expectation before I read this play, at the end they finally meet who is Godot, right? But at the end they finally never met who is Godot and what he looks like.
I agree with both of you. I expect I know about who is Godot or what he look like at the end of the story, but it's an absurd story. So, do you know anything about Waiting for Godot or Samuel Beckett?
As far as I know, Samuel Beckett made a play named Waiting for Godot. And I remember in the play there are 5 my main characters. They are Estragon, Vladimir, Pozo, Lucky, and the boy. And they are waiting for someone named Godot. So Lucy, what do you think that makes this story feel absurd?
For me, the absurdity comes from Vladimir and Estragon waiting someone who named Godot without knowing who he is or when he will arrive. And their confusion shows how they all struggled the meaning, right? And what do you think, Michelle?
I think Godot could mean hope or purpose, but we never really know who is Godot, and this is make us think about our own lives, like what we're waiting for. And one of the characters, Lucky, who is Pozo's servant, I think Lucky represents hard work and being treated badly, right? Because he often says like, "I resume." So, what's your take, Chelsea?
In my opinion, I think besides Godot, the way they talk and act shows how boring life can be. Like when they want to leave but they never do, and when Estragon says "let's go" and Vladimir replies "they can't," it shows like our daily lives where we often feel stuck.
It's a great point, Chelsea. The setting, we talk about the setting, it's just a tree.
One tree.
Yeah, it's also interesting, maybe the tree shows hope that is fading or the only sign of life, right? And there is a character named the boy. The boy who comes later tells them Godot will never come today, right? And what about you, Chelsea?
I think the emptiness is striking in the story because the way they keep talking and the mystery of Godot make us feel like we're all waiting for something that never happened. It's unsettling for me. The boy's message that Godot will come tomorrow add to this feeling kind of waiting and confusion.
Exactly. It's not just about sadness. Like, there are many questions in our life. It's about life. And characters like Pozo and Lucky shows different sides of human relationship, right? Pozo often says things like, "I'm going to throw you in the river." It's like he wants to control someone. And based on what I read, I think there's a dark humor, right?
Yes, I forgot it.
Right. It shows how absurd it is. mixing humor with despair.
It's a funny way. It's a funny way to deal with their reality or their problem.
Right. And the humor adds special touch to the play, right? And it makes us laugh while also making us think about deeper issues in our life. And I think the friendship between Estragon and Vladimir, along with Pozo and Lucky, it shows how complicated relationship can be.
And yeah, I think I agree with you, Michelle, because Beckett seems to say that even in tough times, we can find something to laugh about, even if it's silly. And it kind of reminds us of our strain.
And that what make the play so relatable. We all have moments where we feel stuck and or lost, right? And it for something to change, right? It connects to our experiences.
Well, there's still so much time to discuss about Waiting for Godot, but we'll save that for the next discussion. And there are some scenes will be shown. And thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. See you next time. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast about Waiting for Godot. Today, we will talk about Samuel Beckett Timeless Play. I am Matilda, and with me today are Sherina and Pia.
Hello everyone, I'm Sherina. Hello everyone, I'm Pia.
And today, we are going to discuss some of the important parts of the play. Now, let's begin with the themes and symbol in the play. For example, the tree. What did you think the tree means in the play?
The tree. I think the tree is a strong symbol. It's alive but no leaves. So it shows both hope and sadness. Beckett used it show to ideas, life, and emptiness. Yes, and the characters even talk about that under the tree, which is meant to symbolize life, right? This contrast make the play very interesting for.
Yeah, it's also interesting how the tree changes during the play. Like in the first act, it has only a few leaves, but in the second act, it looks almost as dead. This could represent how life and hope can fade over.
I agree, Matilda. The tree shows how everything is always changing, but we still wait for something that may never come. It's like we're stuck in time. Just like the characters.
Yeah. Another big idea in the play is absurdity, or how strange life can be. Now let's talk about these things first. What do you think absurdity in the context of Waiting for Godot?
For me, absurdity is about how life doesn't always make sense. Beckett showed this through Estragon struggle with his boot. He keeps trying to take them off, but it feels meaningless. It's like how people try to find purpose in life, but end up feeling stuck.
Yeah, I really agree with you, Via. Estragon's boots might feel like a small problem, but they represent how we face challenges that feel simple but have deeper meaning. It is like as if Beckett is saying, look how even the small things can feel overwhelming when you are searching for meaning.
Great point. Let's explore that idea by looking at one of the scenes about Estragon and his boots.
Nothing to be done. I'm beginning to come around to that. All my life, I try to take it off, but I just can't. Even the shoes. Yes, the shoes. They're too tight, and yet I can't take them off. What's the point?
Now, what did you think about the scene?
About the scene that we watched earlier, I think this part from Waiting for Godot reflects themes of struggle, frustration, and the absurdity of life. Estragon struggles with his boot, symbolizing life persistent, that small difficulties seem impossible to resolve. His line about the shoe being too tight shows his discomfort, yet he keeps wearing them. Just as people often endure things that make them unhappy out of habit or lack of choice.
Right, Sharina. I think both characters seems to realize their action are pointless but keep going anyway. They are simple talk, if like big question about life struggle and why people continue despite them.
Right. Now, we should talk about the character relationship. Pozo and Lucky are very interesting to watch, right?
Yeah, and Pozo, for me, seems like he is in control. But Lucky's weird speech shows that his control is useless. Beckett seemed to ask if power or control really means anything.
Exactly, their relationship show how people depend on each other, but it also shows how meaningless that can feel in the end. And Pozo and Lucky's relationship feels very unequal, but in a way they are both trapped in their own situation.
Yeah, and even though Pozo becomes really powerful, he ends up being weak when he can't even take care of himself. This makes us question about the real power needs.
And yeah, for me, Lucky's role is also interesting. Do you think the same?
Yes.
And even though he's treated badly, he still stays with Pozo. This shows how people sometimes in real life stay in toxic situation even when they're not treated well.
Right, it's almost like the characters in the play are all stuck in this difficult relationship and situation. They can escape even if they want to.
Let me go. Stay where you are. Be careful. He's able. Is that him? Godot?
Yes. I am Pozo. I represent myself, Pozo.
Marathon.
Now, let's move on to something intriguing in the play. The boy. What do you think his role represents in the Waiting for Godot?
I think in The Waiting for Godot, the boy is such a mysterious character. Because he brings a message from Godot, but we never really understand his purpose. To me, the boy represents uncertainty. The way he appears and then suddenly leaves adds to the idea that waiting for Godot might not bring any answer at all.
I agree, Sharina. The boy feels like link between the characters and Godot, but his message is so vague. It makes us question if Godot is even real or if the boy is just part of. Yeah. His roles show how people hold on to small sign of hope even when they are not sure what they mean.
Mr. Godot told me to tell you he won't come today, but surely tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Are you sure?
Yes, sir. He said tomorrow.
Tomorrow, it's always tomorrow. Hush.
Let the boy speak.
You seen him, Godot?
Yes, sir. I work for him.
What's he like?
I don't know, sir. He's kind, but I've never really seen him.
How can you work for someone you've never seen?
I just deliver messages.
Messages! And what do you get for this client service? A pat on the back? Hush. Will you come again tomorrow?
If he tells me to, sir, I must go now.
Wait, one more question. Does he keep his promises?
I don't know, sir.
This scene is fascinating because it highlights how vague and uncertain the boy answers are. It leaves us wondering if Godot is real or just an idea that the character thinks to, right?
Exactly, Matilda. The boy's roles add to the mystery of the play, right?
Right.
And his unclear responses makes us question the purpose of waiting and if the characters will ever get what they are hoping for.
Yes, and it's interesting how the boy seems as unsure as Vladimir and Estragon. It's like he's a part of the same circle of doubt and waiting, just like them.
Okay, so what do you think Waiting for Godot says about human experience?
I think it shows how life can feel like waiting game. Yeah. We'll all wait for something important, whether it's love, success, or answer, but sometimes it feels like we're waiting for nothing.
Yes, I really agree with you.
Yeah.
It is also about how we try to make sense of things in life, even when nothing is makes sense. The play, like we watched before, doesn't give us any answer, right? And that is the part that makes it so powerful. It's like mirrors the confusion and uncertainty of life.
So, do you think the play is hopeful or hopeless?
It's a mix. On one hand, it feels hopeless because nothing really changed. But the other hand, the characters still keep going even in their weeping. Maybe that's a kind of hope to just continuing even when we don't know why.
Yeah, it's like we keep moving forward, even when we don't understand or we don't know where we are going.
Okay, I think that's it for today's discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you to Pia and Cherita for sharing your thoughts, and thank you for everyone who was watching now. Join us next time when we talk about what this play means and why is it so important.
See you on the next session.
Hello everyone, welcome to the third section of our podcast where we dive into the fascinating, puzzling, and sometimes absolute world of waiting for Godot. And today I'm here with my wonderful friends, Jelita and Ian.
Hello, Asta. Thank you for having us. I'm so excited to talk about this play.
Yeah, it's such a strange but meaningful story. So much to unpack.
Okay, before we go deeper into the play itself, let's talk a little bit about Samuel Beckett and the story behind Waiting for Godot. Beckett was an Irish playwright and one of the leading figures of the theater of the absurd. This play, written in the late 40s, explores the themes like waiting, hope, and the absurdity of life. It tells the story of two characters, Vladimir and Estragon, who are waiting for someone named Godot who never arrives. Beckett wanted the play to make us think about the uncertainty and struggles in our lives. With that context in mind, let's start with our impression. What did you guys feel after reading it?
Okay, at first I felt a bit confused because after thinking more, I know it's all about waiting, hope, and life.
Same here. At first, I was like, what just happened? But then, I started connecting the dots. It's like this metaphor for life, how we're all waiting for something, sometimes without even knowing what it is.
That's so true. And speaking of waiting, Jelita, what stand out most to you in the play?
Okay, for me, the line "nothing to be done" show how people feel can act again about life problems. But Vladimir's show answer people keep trying when even seem hopeless. Here the scene.
Nothing to be done.
Absolutely. That's the soul of the play, finding meaning in the face of uncertainty.
Exactly. So now let's dive into the symbolism of Godot. Who do you think Godot is?
That's the $1 million question. I personally think Godot represents hope or maybe even faith. Something that keeps us going even when life feels pointless.
I agree, but maybe Godot is like a goal we can reach. We wait for a perfect time, person, or even, but maybe it will never come.
Wow, that's deep. I've also read theories that Godot might represent God. The word Godot sounds a lot like God. And the way Vladimir and Estragon keep waiting reminds me of religious faith and the hope for salvation.
That's a great point, Lasta, But then, why does he never show up?
Maybe that's the point. That life is about the waiting, not the outcome. It's like the process teaches us something about ourselves.
Exactly. Now let's talk about some of the interesting scenes. Which one stood out the most for you guys?
Okay, for me, the scene where Vladimir and Estragon talk about hanging themselves is very dark, but also strangely funny. It's so to people about humor and absurdity.
For the kidneys. What do we do now? We wait. Yes, but while waiting, What if we hang ourselves? They give us an erection. An erection?
Right. This part of Waiting for Godot is both dark and funny in a strange way. Vladimir and Esteban are bored and joking about something as serious as hanging themselves, which shows how absurd their situation is.
Yes, exactly. It's a good example of how the play makes serious idea with humor to make us think about life new ways.
Oh, totally. I also found the arrival of Pozo and Lucky fascinating. Their relationship is so strange. Pozo treats Lucky terribly, but Lucky seems to accept it. It made me think about power dynamics and dependence. This scene shows how Pozo treats Lucky badly, like a servant or an animal. Pozo controls Lucky with a rope and a whip, forcing him to carry heavy things and follow others. When Lucky falls, it shows how hard his situation. Vladimir and Estragon see this but aren't sure if they should help. Their hesitation shows how people sometimes feel torn between wanting to help and fearing what might happen if they do. The scene highlights themes of power, controls, and human indifference.
I agree with you, Pian. Also, this where the scene Vladimir, Pozo call Lucky a pig.
Yes, gentlemen. I cannot go for long without the society of my lights, even if the lightness is an imperfect one. Still! Closer! Back! Closer! That is why, with your permission, I propose to dally with you for a moment. Basket! Basket? The jail air is good for the appetite. Further, response. Happy days.
Okay. This show Pozo total control over Lucky, treating him not as a person but as a thing. Pozo gives many orders, making Lucky do everything for him, from carrying his things to helping him dress. Lucky obeys without question, showing he's powerless.
Yeah, that's right. Pozo acts overly polite to Vladimir and Estragon, pretending to be friendly, but his action toward Lucky reveals his true cruelty. I think these scenes highlights themes of power, exploitation, and the way people can treat others as less than human when they hold control over them.
And how about Lucky's thinking scene, where he delivers that long-nonsense monologue?
Really, this actually before the public word, so thank you and what personal guy. With white bread. Outside time with that extension from the high. You find a party, they find a family, they find a pasture. Dogs always there with some exception to reasons. The time itself. And suffers like Defy, Miranda. With those for reasons unknown, the time will tell our plunging family, plunging with fire. With fire. With fire flames if that continues. Broken out. With fire, the firmament that is the side. The firmament. Then it's just a blast. Hell will happen. So blue, so calm, without calm, which even go intermittent, but not so fast. and consider what is more than the results of the labors left unfinished by Academy of Anthropometry as in positive Tetson Connor. It is established beyond all doubt for other doubt that which springs the labors of men, that as a result of the labors unfinished of Tesla, it is established as here enough but not so fast. For reasons unknown, that as a result of the labors of the public works of puncher and weapon of a personal God, it is established beyond all doubt that in men, that in few of Tesla and Connor left unfinished, it is established what many deny, that many posse Tesla and Connor, that many tacit, that many short, that many brief, in spite of the slides of alimentation and purification, wastes and pines, and concurrently, but honestly, what is both for reasons, in spite of the slides of physical culture, the practice of sports such as tennis, football, running, cycling, swimming, flying, floating, riding, gliding, canoeing, kayaking, skating, tennis of all kinds, dying, flying, sport of all sorts, autumn, summer, winter, tennis of all kinds, hockey of all sorts. Penicillins, in a word, they can flying, gliding, go over 9 and 18 folds. Tennis of all sorts in a word for reasons unknown, in fact, namely concurrently, simultaneously, what is more for reasons unknown at the time itself. Ways of which person. All and problem in a word. The death was perhaps since the death of Bishop Berkeley, being to the tune of 1 inch 4 ounce perhaps since the death of Bishop Berkeley. These are around feet are stark naked and stalking straight in Connemara in a word. For reasons unknown, no matter what matter the facts are there, and considering what is more, much more grave than the like of the labor, the loss of Steinway and Peterman, it appears what is more, much more grave. In the light of the labor loss of Steinway and Peterman, that in the plains, in the mountains, by the seas, by the river, running water, running fire, the air is the same than the earth, namely the earth. And then the earth is the great cold, the great dark, the air, and the earth, the boat of stones, and the great cold. Alas, in the year of their Lord, 600 and something the air, the earth, the sea, the earth, the boat of stones, and the great deeps, the great cold on sea and on land. And in the air are assumed for reasons unknown in spite of the times. That's a very good time itself. Are assumed. Alas. On in short, we find on the board of stones looking down at it. I assume, but not so fast. I assume. It's cool. Fading, and controlling simultaneously what's more for reasons unknown in spite of 15 songs. On the bird, the flames, the tears, the stone so blue, so cold. Alles, on the school in Connemara, in spite of the tennis of the labor, 7 and left unfinished braver, still about of stones. In the word are assumed. Alles, abandoned, unfinished. The school in Connemara, in spite of the tennis, the school, alles, stones, honored, it is established, beyond all, finished.
This was wild. I feel like a critic of thinking too much. How we sometimes make things complex without saying anything important.
Do you feel like the repetition of phrases like for reason unknown and I resume express confusion and the lack of clear answers? For me, I feel like it reflects despair and the absurdity of trying to make sense of life. It's both funny and tragic, a reflection of how people struggle to find meaning in chaos.
Yes, I think Lucky talk about big idea like God, human pain, and life meaning. He started by talking about a God full of people, but let them suffer for no reason. He talks about unfinished work, human progress like sport and medicine. Yeah, people still suffer even with changes.
Absolutely. It's both impressive and exhausting. It's like Samuel Beckett is poking fun at how humans try to find order in the chaos.
By the way, speaking of chaos, the ending was so powerful. How did you feel about Vladimir and Saragon deciding to go but then the movie?
Well, shall we go?
Yes. Let's go. That moment hit me hard. It's like they're stuck in the endless loop of waiting, just like all of us.
Right. It made me think how we often say we'll take action, but fear or uncertainty hold us back.
Yes, exactly. It's a simple play. You know, it's show about a lot about human life.
Also, there was scene of the boy.
Yes, I
that's
know the
boy,
point.
yeah.
A mysterious character who the first message from Godot. He said Godot will come tomorrow, but this promise is not fulfilled. The boy is polite and a bit nervous, but the fight doesn't really show him who he is, whether he's lying or not.
I agree with you, Lasta. The boy doesn't say much about himself, ending to the play mystery. I think he might represent hope, but his unclear answer make us question if waiting for Godot is pointless. He ought to the theme of knowing and endless waiting.
Mister!
Oh, off we go again.
Approach.
Richard?
Mr. Albert?
Yes. What do you know? Approach. Approach when you're told. Can't you?
Mr. Godot.
Obviously, the approach. Approach! Will you not? What kept you so late?
Do you have a message from Mr. Godot?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I feel like this scene saw the characters growing frustration and the boy's role as a messenger of vague hope, keeping them waiting for answer that never really come. It reflects their struggle with waiting and their need for some kind of meaning purpose.
I agree. And I think us as a readers too, right? At that point, we also start to feel frustrated. Well, that's all we have for today's podcast. Thank you, Pian and Jolita, for sharing your thoughts and expression and your wild theories. This was such a fun and deep conversation.
Yes, thank you, Lasta. For me, it is an interesting story, you know.
Yes, thank you. And everyone listening, I hope you enjoy your own journey through waiting for Godot.
Definitely. And remember, it's not just about waiting. It's about what we do while we wait. Take care and keep exploring. Thank you, everyone.